Welcome back to my channel. Today, we explore the value of specific coins. First up, the 1969 with D mint mark Jefferson nickel. If you're a coin collector or just curious about rare coins, you won't want to miss this. The Jefferson nickel was first minted in 1938, honoring Thomas Jefferson. The design features his profile on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse. Today, we're focusing on the 1969 D nickel, which has gained significant attention in the collecting community due to its rarity and unique characteristics. The 1969 D nickel is particularly notable because of its low mintage and some intriguing varieties. The standard 1969 D nickel was produced in Denver, and while millions were made, only a few stand out as ultra-valuable. This is mainly due to specific features that collectors look for, including the condition and any potential errors. In good condition, collectors are on the lookout for coins with minimal wear, clear details, and strong strike. However, the true value skyrockets for those in uncirculated or near-mint condition. So, what's the current market value of a 1969 D Jefferson nickel? In good condition, these coins can fetch anywhere from $0.50 to $2. However, as we move up in quality, the prices increase significantly. For uncirculated examples, values can soar to over $10 or even higher, depending on the grading and specific features of the coin. If you're looking to add a 1969 D nickel to your collection, here are a few tips. First, always check the condition of the coin. Look for signs of wear and tear and ensure that you're buying from reputable dealers. Second, consider getting the coin graded by a professional service to determine its exact value. This can greatly enhance its marketability. In summary, the 1969 D Jefferson nickel is a prime example of how a seemingly ordinary coin can hold extraordinary value in the right condition. Whether you're an avid collector or just starting, keep an eye out for this gem. It's the Abraham Lincoln wheat penny. Specifically, we'll be talking about the 1949. How much is it worth in today's market if it's in dirty, circulated condition? Before we get into the nitty-gritty of its value, let's take a quick look at the history of the Lincoln wheat penny. First minted in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the penny replaced the Indian head design and became an instant favorite. The obverse, or front, of the coin features Lincoln's profile, while the reverse, or back, displays two wheat stalks, hence the name wheat penny. The wheat penny was produced until 1958, making it a piece of U.S. numismatic history. Among the years of production, the 1949 penny is notable not for its rarity, but for its ubiquity. The 1949 Lincoln wheat penny was minted in large quantities. Over 217 million were produced across the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. That means this particular penny is still fairly common, especially in circulated condition. However, its availability doesn't mean it lacks value, but collectors and sellers should manage their expectations when it comes to pennies that show considerable wear or dirt accumulation. This is where condition comes into play. So let's talk about condition. Coins that are categorized as dirty are typically those that have been in circulation for many years. These pennies often have grime, tarnish, or even corrosion, which can significantly affect their appearance and value. In the numismatic world, grading is everything. Coins in uncirculated or mint state condition can command high prices, but what about a dirty, well-worn coin, like the one you might find in a jar of loose change? Let's break it down. If you've got a 1949 wheat penny that's seen better days, covered in dirt, heavily worn, or tarnished, here's the reality: its value in today's market is relatively modest. The good news is that even in a dirty or heavily circulated condition, the coin still holds some value. For a 1949 penny that hasn't been cleaned or restored, you can expect to get between 2 to 5 cents. That's right, its value often doesn't exceed the penny's face value by much. Why? Because there are so many out there in similar condition. Of course, certain factors like rarity and error varieties can change things, but for your average dirty 1949 penny, it's more of a curiosity or part of a beginner's collection than a high-value investment. Now, some of you might be thinking, if my coin is dirty, can I clean it to increase its value? That's where I have to give you a big warning. Coin collectors are generally not fans of cleaned coins. In fact, cleaning a coin can actually lower its value. Collectors prefer coins in their original state, no matter how worn or dirty they may be. So, Unless you're a professional conservator or know exactly what you're doing, it's better to leave that penny as is. So, what's the takeaway here? If you find a 1949 Lincoln wheat penny in dirty condition, it's probably not worth more than a few cents, unless it has a rare error or variety. However, these coins are still a fun piece of American history to collect, and who knows, you might just stumble upon a valuable error coin. In any case, these pennies represent a time when Abraham Lincoln graced the smallest denomination of U.S. currency, and that alone makes them worth keeping for sentimental or historical reasons. Next up, the 1965 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark. You might be surprised to learn about its potential value, even in dirty, black-shaded conditions. Let's get started. The Jefferson nickel was first issued in 1938, but by 1965, a lot had changed in coin production. The coin features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse. However, in 1965, the U.S. Mint produced a lot of nickels without a mint mark, and that's where the intrigue begins. So, what makes the 1965 Jefferson nickel special? Generally, most coins from this year are considered common, but a few factors can elevate their status and value. For collectors, the appeal lies in the rarity of coins without mint marks. While most 1965 nickels come from the Philadelphia Mint and typically have lower values, certain conditions can make a coin significantly more valuable. Now, let's talk about condition. Coins can range from uncirculated to heavily worn. A dirty or black-shaded nickel might not look pristine, but don't underestimate it. Even in less than perfect condition, the 1965 Jefferson nickel can be worth between $0.10 and $2 depending on the extent of the wear. However, if you come across one that is rare and in acceptable condition, values can climb significantly higher. In today's market, the demand for rare and unique coins has surged. As collectors seek to complete their sets, coins like the 1965 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark are attracting attention. Although you might find one in a dirty state for a few dollars, cleaned or preserved examples can fetch prices anywhere from $5 to $50 at auction, depending on the market and the buyer's interest. In conclusion, while the 1965 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark may not seem valuable at first glance, don't overlook its potential, even in a dirty condition. If you have one, it might be worth more than you think. Next up, the world of Lincoln wheat pennies, specifically the 1942 D wheat penny, and find out what it's worth in today's market. The 1942 D Lincoln wheat penny is a fascinating coin from an era where pennies were still made from a mix of copper and zinc. This was during World War II, so pennies from this time have historical significance. But what are they worth today? Let's break it down. First, let's talk about what makes the 1942 D penny unique. These coins were minted in Denver, which is what the D mint mark stands for. In 1942, the U.S. Mint was still producing pennies with 95% copper and 5% zinc before switching to steel pennies in 1943 due to the copper shortage during World War II. Millions of these pennies were produced, so they are far from rare. However, condition plays a huge role in determining the coin's value, which brings us to the next point. On average, a 1942 D Lincoln wheat penny in good condition is worth between 3 and 10 cents. Yes, that's right, despite being over 80 years old, this coin is still quite common. With over 206 million minted in Denver alone, they're easy to find, which keeps their value relatively low. Not exactly life-changing money, right? But don't let that discourage you if you're starting out as a collector. It's important to remember that these coins hold historical and sentimental value, even if they're not worth a fortune. Now, there are some things that can bump up the value. For example, if your 1942 D penny is in a higher grade, say, very fine or extra fine, it could be worth more, possibly up to 50 cents or more, depending on the exact condition. Uncirculated, mint state examples of the 1942 D penny can fetch $5 to $15 on the market, and if it's a particularly high-grade MS coin, it could go for much more at an auction. So, in conclusion, while the 1942 D Lincoln wheat penny in good condition might not make you rich, it's a piece of American history that you can hold in your hand. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, it's always exciting to learn the stories behind the coins. Next up, the 1983 Jefferson nickel with a D mint mark. This particular coin has caught the attention of collectors and investors alike, and we're going to find out why. The Jefferson nickel, first minted in 1938, features Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse. However, the 1983 D mint mark version stands out due to its rarity and increasing value in today's market. When we talk about fine condition in the world of coin collecting, we're referring to a specific level of wear. In fine condition, you should see some visible wear, but the overall details of the coin should still be clear. This is crucial for determining its value. As of today, the value of the 1983 Jefferson nickel with a D mint mark in fine condition ranges between $3 and $5. However, this value can vary based on the specific details of the coin and the current market demand. In higher grades, the value can shoot up significantly, sometimes reaching up to $15 or even more for exceptional specimens. Collectors are particularly interested in the 1983 D nickel because it is part of a transitional year, the US. Mint was experimenting with different metals and production techniques during the early 1980s, making this nickel a fascinating piece of history. So, how can you tell if your 1983 D nickel is valuable? First, check for the D mint mark located on the reverse side. Next, inspect the coin for any errors or unique characteristics, such as doubling on the lettering or unusual wear patterns, which can significantly enhance its value. Next up, the 1925 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark. This penny is nearly 100 years old, and while it may seem like just a common penny at first glance, it's a piece of American history. In this video, we'll explore the history behind the 1925 Lincoln wheat penny, break down what no mint mark means, and of course we'll get into its value in today's coin market. So, let's get started. The Lincoln wheat penny, designed by Victor D. Brenner, was first minted in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. The design with Lincoln's profile on the obverse, or head side, replaced the Indian head penny. The reverse, or tails side, features two wheat stalks, giving it the name wheat penny. By 1925, the U.S. economy was roaring. This was the height of the Roaring '20s, and Americans were spending pennies like these every day. But what makes the 1925 wheat penny special? Well, during this year, over 139 million pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is where our coin of interest comes from. If your penny doesn't have a mint mark under the date, that means it was minted in Philadelphia, which didn't use a mint mark at the time. A coin graded as fine is not in perfect shape, but it's still quite collectible. Fine condition means there's moderate wear on the high points of the coin, but the major design elements, like Lincoln's profile and the wheat stalks on the reverse, are still easily visible. The overall appearance is worn, but not heavily damaged. As of 2024, a 1925 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in fine condition typically sells for around $0.50 to $1.50. This price range can fluctuate slightly depending on market demand and the exact condition of the coin. One of the reasons the 1925 penny is so affordable is because it's one of the more common dates. Over 139 million pennies were minted in Philadelphia that year, meaning plenty of these coins are still floating around today. So there you have it. The 1925 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in fine condition may not make you rich, but it's still a valuable piece of American history. Whether you're collecting for fun, investment, or nostalgia, it's always exciting to learn more about these little treasures. Next up, the ultra-valuable 1942 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark, specifically focusing on its value even when it's in dirty and old condition. The 1942 Jefferson nickel is particularly interesting for collectors, especially because of its unique history. During World War II, the nickel was made from a combination of copper and nickel, but due to metal shortages, the U.S. Mint also produced coins with different compositions. However, we're focusing on the 1942 nickel without a mint mark, which was minted in Philadelphia. Now, you might be wondering, what makes this coin so special, especially when it's in less than perfect condition? The answer lies in its rarity and demand among collectors. In general, the 1942 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark has a range of values. In average condition, you might find it worth around $1 to $2. But here's the kicker: in uncirculated or higher grade conditions, it can soar to $15 or even $20. But what about those old, dirty coins? Surprisingly, even in this condition, they can fetch a decent price. A heavily worn 1942 nickel without a mint mark can still be valued between $3 and $5, depending on its wear and overall appeal. And for particularly rare finds, such as those with significant flaws or errors, the value can increase significantly. The value of a coin often hinges on its condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with lower numbers indicating poor condition. Even a low-grade 1942 nickel without a mint mark can attract attention from collectors looking to complete their sets. So, if you have an old and dirty 1942 Jefferson nickel lying around, don't underestimate its potential value. Before cleaning or discarding it, consider doing a little research. It might be worth a lot more than you think. There are several resources available online where you can check the latest market values and auction results. Websites like PCGS and NGC are great starting points for determining the worth of your coins. Next up, the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny with the S mint mark, particularly those that are in a black shade or dirty condition. Before we get into the market value of the 1944 S Lincoln wheat penny, let's talk a bit about its background. This coin is part of the wheat penny series, which was minted from 1909 to 1958. The wheat ears on the reverse were symbolic of prosperity and agriculture, while the obverse features none other than Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. The 1944 series is notable because it was minted after World War II started and the US. Mint resumed using copper to produce pennies, as opposed to the steel cents of 1943. This means the 1944 pennies, including those from the San Francisco Mint with the S mint mark, were made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Now, what about these coins that appear to have a black shade or are in dirty condition? This look is often due to environmental factors like oxidation or dirt accumulation over the years. When coins are exposed to the elements, whether they're buried, kept in poor conditions, or simply handled too much, the copper in them reacts, sometimes forming a black or brownish layer of oxidation. This can, unfortunately, affect the coin's appeal and lower its grade, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's worthless. Collectors are more focused on the condition in terms of grading, such as how visible the details are, whether the coin has been cleaned, which is often a big no-N, and any errors or variations in the minting. In general, the 1944 S penny isn't rare. It was minted in large numbers, with over 282 million coins produced by the San Francisco Mint alone. Because of this, its base value is typically just a few cents for coins in heavily circulated or poor condition. For pennies that are in average circulated condition, those that show wear but still retain most of their details, the value ranges from about $0.10 to $0.30. Coins that have a noticeable black shade or dirty appearance might fall on the lower end of this spectrum, unless they have some rare qualities like errors or die varieties. However, if the coin is in better shape, such as extra fine or even about uncirculated condition, the value can rise significantly, typically landing between $0.50 and $2. But again, a black or dirty penny would likely fetch closer to the $0.50 mark unless it's been carefully preserved despite its appearance. Now, if you're lucky enough to find one in uncirculated condition, meaning it shows no wear and still has its original luster, though still dirty or blackened, you're looking at a value that can range from $5 to $10 or more, depending on demand and the coin's eye appeal. If you happen to have a 1944 S penny with any of these errors, even in blackened or dirty condition, the value can jump to anywhere between $20 to over $100, depending on the severity of the error and the coin's overall condition. A quick note about cleaning: you might be tempted to clean your blackened or dirty penny to make it look more attractive, but I strongly advise against it. Cleaning can significantly reduce a coin's value because it alters the natural patina that collectors look for. Even if the coin looks better to the untrained eye, collectors and professional graders can easily spot a cleaned coin, and it will reduce its desirability. If you're interested in selling a 1944 S Lincoln wheat penny, there are a few options. You could try selling through online marketplaces like eBay or Etsy, where circulated 1944 pennies typically sell for the prices we discussed earlier. You can also visit coin dealers, though keep in mind they may offer a lower price since they need to resell the coin. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coin collecting content. See you in the next video.